right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. I'm Conspiracy Christian. I am joined
Ooh,
with Conspiracy Glenn, and we're here to talk
hello.
about some conspiracy theories with you all today.
I feel like we need like some synth music right now. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for this for a multitude of reasons. I think that right now there's an incredible amount of conspiracies floating around in the industry. I'm seeing them all the time. I saw a new one yesterday that we're going to get into a little bit later. Christian wanted the deets on it. I refused to provide those details to him in true conspiracy fashion.
It's true.
We're going to do it live right here on the pod.
You guys, whether it be aliens, whether it be Bermuda Triangle, whether it be an Earth that is not round,
Ooh,
it
great
all
one.
could happen. It all could happen on episode 157.
Anything's possible on episode 157.
It's all in play, as they say.
Everything's on the table. The flat. So this was kind of what I wanted to do today, to have a little bit of fun. This is most likely going to be our last stream of the week. We are Thursday. We started on Monday this week, so wanted to start with a little bit of fun. I thought we could maybe start with some.
We did not do a show on Monday.
Oh my gosh, you're right. You're right. We skipped Monday. I kept thinking we did stream Monday. That's part of the conspiracy. Maybe we did.
That is the conspiracy. Maybe there was a stream that you don't know about.
Yeah. Maybe I had a secret episode on Monday that you're not aware of. That could be part of the conspiracy. So maybe we will stream again tomorrow. Regardless, we want to have some fun here on the podcast today. And so this was kind of how I thought we could progress. I thought we could start with some really fringe, crazy, wild conspiracies outside the insurance world to kick the show off. And then I thought we could slowly work our way in to some of the actual real, well, I guess, again, conspiracy. Any of it could be real. All could be real.
We have been accused of speculating on various things. And, when it first happened, it made me upset. But then I realized that the real play here was not to fight against the speculation, but to lean into it, which is what we're doing on episode 157. Yes. So, all right. So start off the conversation when it comes to
let's start. Yeah, let's start again. Let's get really fringe to start here. Really far outside. You mentioned flat Earth. Let's talk about it, man. I mean, this is a great one because for some reason NBA.
Can't believe I'm doing this.
For some reason, NBA players love talking about this. Have you seen how many NBA players talk about flat Earth?
I've definitely seen Kyrie talk about it. I'm not aware of any others, but I haven't paid that close attention to it to be completely transparent on this. Yeah.
So hang on. Before you comment on flat Earth theory, to give it a quick breakdown for some of you that might not be aware, there is a theory out there, a conspiracy theory, that the Earth is not round, that it is literally a flat disc where you could essentially go off the edge of the Earth, based on what I've heard. And there's an incredible amount of believers on this one out there. So Christian, flat Earth theory, what are your thoughts, feelings?
Man, as much as I want to lean into the conspiracies on this episode, I can't do it. I can't do it on this one. It is so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous the lengths that they go to, right? They're like, NASA says that the photos of Earth are photoshopped. and there's giant ice walls to stop you from falling off. So if you sailed too far, you would hit the ice wall. But there's no evidence of this.
You're an expert. You're an expert on this one.
When I first heard about it years ago, I was like, what? I'm like, why do people believe this? And I found myself listening to some stuff about it because I was legitimately wanting to understand why people believe this, because I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
And it was every bit as ridiculous as I was expecting it to be. They think that it's not necessarily a disc that's flat in and of itself. It's like a curved disc. That's why when you sail on the ocean, you still go down.
Or when they tried to do like the laser test, where they're like trying to see at a distance, well, the laser, is there like a curvature? This one's absurd, you guys. There's nothing like this is like early 1400s, like sitting around a campfire, some person stumbled out of a cave and said it, and for some reason we're still talking about it here 700-800 years later. Crazy stuff.
The ones that I think are probably the ones to get into before we get into the actual insurance ones are, the JFK assassination and the moon landing, the two goats, of conspiracy.
I'm gonna throw one other one out there that I wanted to mention. This is one of my personal favorites of all of them, is Area 51.
Oh yeah,
love Area 51. The stories that have come out of Area 51, you'll hear something. I'll get like shivers. I'll get like the conspiracy shivers from Area 51.
The conspiracy shakes. The CSs, not customer service, but the conspiracy shakes.
Okay, let's talk it through a few of these, and then we'll get into some of the juicy, the insurance conspiracies, and see what we dig up for you guys on the podcast today.
Yes. Okay, where do we begin? Right. So
moon landing?
Let's start with moon landing. So about a year ago, I'd never really heard anything. Like I knew about the conspiracy theory, but I didn't understand why people thought it. I've never been a big conspiracy person, admittedly.
As you're sitting here with
confused and baffled by them historically. I'm like, huh? So I started watching like a documentary about the conspiracy theory, and I remember I was texting you, and I'm like,
yeah, I remember this.
And I was like, what? I'm like, why do they think this? What? And watching some Rogan clips and things like that. Essentially, the conspiracy is, which they made an entire movie about a year ago, that had Scarlett Johansson in it. I watched about half of it and I turned it off. It wasn't good. I was so bored. But the conspiracy is that in an effort to beat the Soviets, that we wanted to basically beat them in our quest of getting to the moon, and we were so far away technologically of being able to do it that we faked it. We faked the moon landing. We recorded it in a studio, a warehouse, and with like strings attached to the astronauts, and they're bouncing and everything like that. And so give us some insight on this from your conspiracy mind.
So I'll tell you, in favor of it being faked, I'll tell you that side of it, okay? To give you both angles here. So the strangest part of the whole story to me is that 2025 today, we are the only country to have ever had a person go from Earth to the moon and back. No other country, despite all this technological advancement, all of this advancement in space, that feels a little weird to me. Like, and why did Russia pull back, hard stop after we got there when they were very clearly on a trajectory to get there? I don't know. That feels weird. Again, that's not like evidence to say that we faked it, just a strangeness to the whole situation. Another big one is the radiation belts. This is the one that they talk about a lot. Between the Earth's atmosphere and getting to the actual moon, crazy that this is on the pod today, guys. There is radiation just from being in space, from the sun, that they're saying humans would have a very hard time surviving if they went through. And mind you, all these astronauts that went there and back, not only did they come back alive, but they actually lived very long lives. Very healthy, long living. The astronauts themselves, there were some weird interviews with, I think it was Buzz. I think Buzz had very, very, very strange interview which again, I can only imagine.
Punch someone?
He punched someone. I was about to bring that up. He punched someone who accused him of being fake, of not going to the moon, which I can only imagine. Like if the thing that you're most known for in the world, right, is doing this one thing and everyone thinks it's not real, I'm sure it would drive you insane over time, right? But Buzz had some really questionable interviews where he got pointedly, like asked questions and he had weird responses to. So there's some weirdness in the space, but I do believe we went there. I do believe we went there. Christian, thoughts on the moon landing?
To expand on it a little bit, we went there because of Wernher von Braun.
Yes.
Which was
director of
the head rocket scientist for Nazi Germany, which we took over and said, you know what, dude? All is well. All is forgiven.
Yes.
Come work for us. We don't care what you did. All is forgiven. You're a good dude. We brought him over.
Didn't he end up becoming a movie director?
I don't know.
I thought
I'm reading a book about it right now.
I think that's part of the conspiracy. I think
so.
I think he becomes a movie director. I think he directed The Shining. I think that's where part of this comes from.
He directed The Shining?
The deeper you go, the more lost you're gonna get in this. I'm telling you, the rabbit hole is deep on this one. I know you want to feel good about your choices here.
But the head of NASA, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, this is not a conspiracy. This is a full-on fact. Was Wernher von Braun at that point in time in history when we went to the moon. And Wernher von Braun was the head rocket scientist for Nazi Germany during World War II. So when Nazi Germany collapsed and they were defeated, America went in and was like, all right, let's snatch us some scientists and bring them to America and, give them houses like they're living next door to you. They're living next door to all of us. And no prosecution, no jail time, anything like that. That is not a conspiracy. That is a fact. That happened.
True. I'm doing a fact check right now. What I said, I want to make sure we're giving you guys the facts here. He had a history of working in the film industry. That comes on the back end of this whole thing. Again, makes it very weird. Makes you pause. Okay, let's move on. We got a lot to cover here.
Operation Paperclip. Yes. I'm reading a book about it right now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Comments are coming alive, you guys. Keep it going. That's a great one. Let's keep rolling though. So let's talk Area 51 really fast. Give me your thoughts on Area 51. Guys, Area 51, secret government base located in Nevada. This isn't a conspiracy that it exists. It definitely exists. It's there. Yes. The conspiracy around Area 51 is that essentially there's alien technology being housed at Area 51 underground. We're running tests. We're doing biopsies on the little green man. We're trying to recreate their technology. There's been stories that have kind of leaked here and there. There's the Roswell incident back in the late 1940s. Thoughts on Area 51? What do you think?
Well, Bob Lazar said all of those things.
Lazar, yes! Look at you coming to the table today, guys. I wasn't sure what Christian was going to have in his pockets today, but Bob Lazar, yes.
Bob Lazar, who allegedly worked at Area 51, they proceeded to erase his identity.
Yes.
Once he went public. He is on the record consistently for decades saying that all of those things are happening at Area 51.
I believe it.
I believe it.
100% on this one. Not even like Like the moon landing, like I'm like, okay, there's some weird stuff here. Area 51, 100%. I'm in. There's alien technology that we have that we've been trying to recreate. The government's been lying about this one for a long time, guys. Long time.
Let's pivot to JFK.
AFK, great one.
The conspiracy here is that there was either more than one shooter,
Yes,
or that Lee Harvey Oswald was the fall guy.
the Pats. He said he was a patsy.
And if you look so deeply at that whole situation, it is bananas at how like South Parkian it is, if you think about it. So JFK gets shot. They have Lee Harvey Oswald pretty quickly, I believe, within an hour or two of the shooting happening. He's being cuffed. They have like microphones in his face while he's in handcuffs, which it's like, why are you letting him do a press conference? If he just killed the president of the United States, why is he doing a press conference? They're like, did you do it? He's like, nope, I didn't do it. No, wouldn't have done that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like, okay,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Think about this situation that just happened with Charlie Kirk. Did they do a press conference with the shooter?
No.
I've never heard of anything like that ever. No. It's like, sir, what is your favorite color? Well, I think naturally my favorite color is orange. Isn't it yours?
Well, what I love about conspiracy theories is when you just can pull out some simple facts that don't make sense. Why are we allowing the president of the United States to sit on the back of a convertible in this narrow, I haven't actually been to the grassy knoll, but I was actually just listening about Charlie Sheen and Joe Rogan. The interview just dropped like 2 days ago. They talked a ton about it, and they were talking about how narrow that area is. I mean, it is like the worst spot possible to send the United States president. You're sending the president of America, and he's sitting on the back of a convertible. Like, you're really just set. It feels like a setup from the start. Right?
It does. And, they take him into custody. Like the next day, there's like this guy in what was his name? Jack, what was his name? Guy that shot Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah, I don't remember. There's another three first
Ruby.
name.
Jack Ruby? I think that's
Jack Ruby.
Name.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Jack Ruby just like walks up. Like no security, nothing like that. He just walks up and shoots him. No explanation, just like he's just like, it's like why is there no security? Like this is like the biggest story in the world at this point in time. There's a lot of conspiracy theories related to this one. There's conspiracy theories that the CIA was involved. There's conspiracy theories that the mafia was involved. There's conspiracy theories that they both worked together on it. Jack Ruby had ties to the mafia that later came out. And Jack Ruby never talked about like why he did it or anything. He was just like, I did it for America.
So I'll say the newest piece of information I have on this that I'd never heard until literally like 2 days ago is that supposedly in Morse code across the Dallas police radio, the word victory was going out in Morse code.
Whoa.
After he got shot. And the reasoning behind that allegedly is that they were so bothered that JFK didn't send in reinforcements. I don't know if this was Bay of Pigs. I'm not okay. Tell me. You brutal. I love the comment, guys.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Keep the comments coming. We love it. Freebie Friday is also tomorrow, so you can berate us and still potentially win something for free tomorrow.
What a great show this is.
Yes, you can get it all. Okay, final thoughts on the JFK assassination though. What do you think happened?
I don't know, man. I can't.
Scared? You're nervous to say it? You feel
No, I legitimately don't know. Like, I don't know what to think about it. I really, really don't have any idea. I would think that there's some funny business going on. I don't know what though. I can't like put my finger on it and say it was definitely the CIA or it was definitely the mafia or definitely this or definitely that. But I do think there's some funny business. I can't speak to the specifics though.
Do you want to get into really fast one of the spiciest current events of conspiracy theories, or should we move on? How are you feeling?
I think it depends. We need to have time for the insurance conspiracy theories.
We do.
Which is what takes precedent on this episode today.
That does. Joe, what's up, man? Appreciate you tuning in. I want to mention, I feel like I'm obligated to mention this on the stream today. We have the director of the FBI, Mr. Patel. He's being questioned. Yes, being questioned by a committee or in Congress just within the last 48 hours here, a couple days. And the question to him was, who was Jeffrey Epstein trafficking
we're getting into this
children to? And the answer was no one.
Well, the answer was no one. The answer was no one, but the way he said it couldn't not have been more suspicious.
Can you say that again? Can you repeat that question?
So he wouldn't have said, he didn't just say no one. He said, according to the file, no one himself, based on the evidence that we have in the file. Like he wouldn't specifically say flat out no one.
Right.
Which it's like, he was very careful about how he answered that question. You could tell he didn't want to incriminate himself by saying absolutely not, which leads me to believe that there's evidence that's not in the file.
We're going to set this outside the file. We're going to only talk what's in this file. Yeah, something like that. I just think there's so much information already out there. It feels like we're being gaslit in real time by the United States government. Talk to me about Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew essentially got canceled by the world. The royal family removed him from all royal duties because of what evidence was already out there. You're going to tell me he wasn't involved?
Prince Andrew did it without any. Yeah, like the picture. Ghislaine Maxwell standing behind him. She's like,
yes.
And he's like,
yeah.
It's a South Park episode, that picture. Like,
the royal family takes a shot on the pod today.
If you watch too, like there's a Netflix documentary about Jeffrey Epstein called Jeffrey Epstein Filthy Rich.
Yes, great. I've seen it. Great recommendation to the
there's
audience.
Also one about Ghislaine Maxwell that's shorter. It's called Ghislaine Maxwell Filthy Rich.
I don't think I've seen that one. I don't think I've seen the Ghislaine one.
It just goes into different stories, more details about what happened. But, there's eyewitnesses saying that, like, they saw all kinds of horrific shit that I'm not going to repeat on that island. People that worked on the island.
Yes.
People, eyewitnesses saying they saw Bill Clinton on the island.
Yes.
Thank you for the drink.
Very powerful people.
I wouldn't mind another mojito.
The birthday cards that just got released within the last couple of weeks are terrifying. Terrifying. If you really want to go down this rabbit hole,
I don't draw pictures. I've never drawn pictures.
Oh my god, dang it, I'm losing it. Gotta keep it on for safety, guys. This is the only thing protecting me right now. I don't draw pictures.
Only weaklings and dummies draw pictures, not me.
Oh man, I'm so glad we got to this one. That was fantastic. Guys, if you're just tuning in, today the topic is conspiracy theories. We just spent the last 20-25 minutes going through some of the more mainstream conspiracy theories, and would love any commentary you guys want. Feel free. This is your safe space, right? Drop those comments below on your conspiracy theories if you want to share. One thing I'll mention here really fast too, and I just feel like is applicable and hilarious. I have a cousin who thinks that everything that your phone's putting off is like toxic, gonna kill you. He won't use Bluetooth headphones. He won't put his phone to his head. He only talks like this to his phone because he's convinced that that's like his own little personal conspiracies. He thinks your phone's trying to kill you. Any validity to that one, Christian? What do you think?
I mean, I kind of do the same thing. Like you've accused me before of always talking on speakerphone
you
all
do,
the time.
like a boomer.
But I almost never put my phone to my ear ever.
I thought that was just because you were technologically illiterate, but you're scared your phone's gonna kill you. You're on that team.
There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of it's a pain to hold it to my ear. I don't like it.
Yeah. Back in the day, the old phones, it almost worked, right? Like a home phone. Yeah, or a flip phone. But now you're pressing this like piece of glass up against your face. You're like, ugh.
Gets warm.
Yeah.
My face gets all sweaty. I don't like anything about it.
I don't either. Guys, let's talk about today's sponsor of episode 157 of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. It is brought to you by Hire Heroes. Hire Heroes offers vetted virtual assistants, so you don't have to spend weeks looking for someone, even potentially months, trying to put out job ads, go over resumes, interview, hire, only to find the wrong person and start over from the beginning. Your time is extremely valuable. At Hire Heroes, we have a vetted pool of virtual assistants that we've already been working with. We've done background checks on. They already know a baseline of the tools you're using in the insurance industry, and they can get transplanted into your business and have success right away. Literally from the time you send in that request at hireheroes.com until they're actually working inside your company or your agency, it can typically be as quick as 2 or 3 business days. That's how fast the turnaround is, saving you weeks, if not months, and providing a high quality virtual assistant. So if you're looking for help, especially with AEP right around the corner, it's not too late. It's not too late to hire a virtual assistant and have someone help you out with all of the chaos that's coming this AEP. We already know what's on the horizon. So don't wait. Head over to hireheroes.com right now. hireheroes.com. That's hireheroes.com. All right.
Boom. Kaboom.
Kaboom. As Werner von Braun would say. The missile goes kaboom.
One last thing I wanted to mention before we move on. Again, we're limited on time. We got to talk about the insurance conspiracies, but
here we go.
I watched a documentary recently about Ivan the Terrible.
Okay.
Do you know this story?
I don't think I do. The name sounds super familiar, though. Keep going.
So basically, there was a guy who was who lived in America for decades. I want to say in Ohio. In the 80s, he was randomly accused of being Ivan the Terrible, who was a concentration camp guard and notoriously brutal. Like was responsible for tens of thousands of deaths.
Oh, wow.
In concentration camps. He was expedited to Israel and tried. And ultimately had like a really good Israeli attorney that proved he wasn't Ivan the Terrible. But then they later found out that he was a concentration camp for another concentration camp in another spot. And
was he Ivan or was he just
he wasn't Ivan. And the only reason they found that out is because they had for a long time Soviet Russia had the files kind of like locked away, and then all of a sudden, like during the trial, they like opened up. I think this is when like the Berlin Wall fell and stuff, and then you could get records out, and they got records of Ivan the Terrible, and it was like different guy, and he was like killed.
Crazy.
There was like a rebellion from the prisoners, and they killed him in his sleep.
Crazy.
But the dude was
Terrible.
determined to be a concentration camp guard, and this went on for decades. By the way, started in the 80s. And then it ended with him being expedited to Germany to go to trial, and then he died before he could be convicted of old age.
Ivan the Terrible, you guys.
2010 or something, he died. So it took 30 years to convict him.
Oh, the wheels of justice move slow at times, as they say.
No kidding.
Yes.
This episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by my mini course, How to Find and Buy Books of Businesses. Guys, in 2024, Glenn and I, in our combined company, purchased and acquired through acquisition 900 clients. And over the years, we've purchased thousands of clients to grow our agency internally. And we've learned a thing or two over the years, right? There's certain things you need to look out for. You need to know how to value a book of business. You need to know how to transfer everything, what the expectations are in terms of the timeline. And you need to know how to put a deal together and structure it to protect yourself while still at the same time doing good business with people. Guys, this mini course is around 10 videos long. It's a quick and easy thing to get through. And it's a great way for you to grow your book of business in 2025. Whether you're finding an agent that is maybe been in the business for decades and they want to retire, and then maybe they don't have any kids to take over their business. Maybe you're looking at a situation with an agent that just hasn't been able to make it in the business and they're just looking to go off and try other things. Buying books of businesses can be a great way to quickly and rapidly grow your business fast. And we've unveiled all of the little tools and tricks that you need to know in this training. It's a one-time purchase for only $197. For that price, we're practically giving it away. Make sure to check it out now. Now back to the show.
I want to get into some insurance conspiracy theories. I also wanted to revisit a story that we talked about a while ago on the podcast. That's definitely a major conspiracy for those who may have missed a previous episode. But let's start with one of the more common ones that we're hearing right now in all over Facebook. It takes all of maybe 15 seconds to find this conspiracy being talked about, being floated around. And the conspiracy is insurance carriers don't want to pay us anymore. They're getting rid of us.
This was at the top of my list as well.
Yes. Talk to me, Goose.
Okay.
What are we looking at? Are we flat Earth, or is this Area 51? Where are we at on the scale here of conspiracy?
So let's go into the details just slightly. Yes. So everybody knows that there are a whole slew of carriers coming out and increasing their lists of non-commissionable plans. For those of you that don't know, pretty much all carriers, national ones at least, have had non-commissionable plan lists for as long as I've been here, for at least a decade, right? So non-commissionable plans are not a new thing. This is something that every time I talk to someone I know that works at a carrier, they have to remind me about, and I'm like, I know. I'm like, I've been here longer than you. You know?
I don't say that.
Don't tell me that.
Don't say don't say that to me.
But anyway, but the list has essentially grown, and they've come out at on abnormal times, like last year in the middle of AEP, everything like that. There will be 2 major carriers, my understanding is in the next week, dropping additional non-commissionable plans. 2 of the 3 biggest carriers in the space. There's your hint.
Whoa.
Dropping more non-commissionable plans in the next 7 days is what I'm expecting. One of which was supposed to come out Monday. And they want to review the list, make sure it's right, is my understanding.
Which it's now Thursday as of this airing. That's
Yes.
quite the delay. That's quite the
It
delay. You know, a 24-hour, 48-hour delay. Okay, you're dotting your I's, you're crossing your T's. You're wanting to make sure you got the right info. You're going to tell the people the right thing. I don't know. We're 3 days in on this big wait. Kind of interesting.
Yes. So with that being said, there's a lot of panic and fear from agents that think because this is happening, it means that the carriers are slowly phasing us out as agents. But I believe this is more of a flat earth theory than anything else. It's not Operation Paperclip. It is more flat earth, and I'll tell you why, SpongeBob.
Best episode to date. We're not even done yet. I'm already calling it. Best episode we've done.
So the reason
100%.
why, and we've talked about this in tons of detail on the podcast, talking about non-commissionable plans this year. So I'll kind of summarize it best I can. Carriers are basically having to rethink and restructure their entire model of what they can offer in a plan in terms of benefits and remain profitable. You have to think from the standpoint of everything that goes into a carrier offering a plan. So carriers have to submit their plan details and their plans they're going to offer to CMS so far before AEP even starts. So think about this. I was talking to somebody earlier this week, contact of ours, and they were like, don't be surprised if you see some plans that come out that are brand new plans that go non-commissionable. I'm like, why would they do that? Why would they put out a brand new plan that goes non-commissionable? Because the theory is that plans that are non-commissionable, the carrier doesn't want the business. That's why they go non-commissionable. They don't want the business. They want to slow down the bleeding. And eventually that plan is going to terminate. And that's what we're seeing. All the plans vast majority of the plans that went non-commissionable last AEP and earlier this year are terminating for 2026. We're seeing this. So that's kind of the thought of any new non-commissionable plans that we're seeing, right? They'll crosswalk, they'll terminate entirely in the future. So the question was, why would a carrier put out a plan that's brand new with no membership on it and then immediately make it non-commissionable? It's because they get tons of information and also see what their competitors are doing after they've already submitted the bid to CMS to offer a plan. They can't pull a plan once it's approved. Like they can't. The benefits are already in place with CMS. They can't. What can they do? Their actuaries made a mistake on what they could actually offer. And what I've been saying, and what a lot of smart people in our industry have been saying, is we're going to see a lot of bumbling around from carriers trying to figure out what they can offer and what they can't offer. Remember, the previous model with the donut hole was 20 years in the making. 20 years of data these carriers have had to be able to determine what they can offer in terms of benefits and still be able to pay claims and remain profitable. So we're comparing 20 years of data to 9 months of data. That's how long we've had with this new $2,000 cap Inflation Reduction Act changes, right? So there's a lot of moving parts with this, and there's a lot of game of chess that happens at the high end of these things with the carriers that a lot of you as agents don't even think about. It's so far above your comprehension of what's actually going on.
Totally.
So
different world.
I do not believe that's the case. I believe that the carriers are trying to prioritize where they're getting business and not lose their shorts.
That was an incredible soundbite of the reality of the situation. I wish we could put that every time a non-commissionable comment comes up in any of these social media posts, just be able to drop that soundbite. Boom, boom. Because I do believe that we are on the flat earth side of things. Now, I want to take this same idea, but to a little bit of a different place with the actual conspiracy that I saw yesterday. This was so there's the conspiracy that carriers are trying to get rid of us. They don't want to pay agents commissions. They don't want to pay renewals, etc. That's kind of a long time conspiracy. It's not necessarily something new. It is being highlighted right now based on these non-commissionable plans like Christian just talked about. Here's the conspiracy that I was seeing yesterday. It was that allegedly there are going to be LOA call centers that are either currently in action already or they're being developed, where the carrier's strategy would be this. Again, this is all conjecture, conspiracy by definition here, but that the strategy would be non-commissionable plans to the brokers and the independent agents and the whole, basically the FMO world, right? So anybody who's contracted, sorry, here's 90% of our plans. We're not even going to pay you guys on anymore if you're going to keep doing this. And then they're going to pivot to an LOA call center, pay those LOA agents very, very little, and try to replicate what the field force does in a very fraction of that, and utilize an LOA call center. And the receipts behind it was basically job ads for an LOA call center, and there was some conjecture behind like people who had interviewed at this call center and what they had heard from the call center, but the evidence was very limited. I want to be very clear as we're here speculating today in front of you guys. Thoughts on that though? Just immediately first thoughts on this one.
Yeah, well, it's my first time hearing this. I'd be super curious to actually see the receipts myself. It's hard to kind of form an opinion without seeing what these people provided in terms of evidence. But my first thought is,
it was all like really all third party. He said, she said. The receipts were essentially non-existent. But
okay,
again, it's like trust me, bro. That was the receipts on this one.
Here's the thing. Do I think the carriers are making a lot of these plans non-commissionable because they don't want the business? I do. I really do. I don't think it's one of those things. And on their side of things, it's obvious that they're suppressing these plans as well. Right? Like, they're not making them totally non-available to the public, but they're making them harder to find. They're suggesting on their own websites other plans and things. You know what I'm saying? Like they're doing everything that they're legally in their rights to do to stop the enrollments from happening. So to me, that would just not make any sense. You know, now do I think that there's carriers that create LOA models and LOA call centers and captive systems to try to, you know, get more enrollments directly to them? I do. That's been going on forever. There's been captive agents forever.
Right.
But do I think they're doing it on the back of, you know, non-commissionable plans? You can offer them. No one else can. I don't, because everything that we're led to believe, I mean, even if you look at a lot of these big carriers' stock calls to their stockholders, the communication they're putting out is that they are essentially losing profit margins on certain plans, and they're taking steps to try to maneuver it. So are they going to be lying to their shareholders about this? Like, if you really want to know the intention or the agenda of a carrier, listen to their stock calls to their shareholders.
That's a great point.
Like, so it might be partially true that they're developing these captive call centers, these LOA call centers, but do I think they're doing it to secretly push these non-commissionable plans that they've told agents, FMOs, and their shareholders they're losing money on behind the scenes and hide it from everybody? I don't believe that. I don't believe that's happening.
Here's so, you know, when we're talking about the JFK assassination, I mentioned some of the finer points where it's like you can take some of these base facts that we all have to agree on, and then you can make some speculative jumps from those base facts. So here's the base fact that I like in this current scenario is how many Medicare beneficiaries exist in the United States? I want to say it's like around 60 million, 58 million. Where are we at today?
I want to say that it's 60 million. I can find out real fast. We have technology.
Yeah. We have the ability to find out. So let's, while you're looking up the exact number, let's say 60 million as a rough estimate. That is
68 million. 68 million.
Whoa!
That number was in my head because I recently did a talk where I talked about how the Medicare beneficiary base was going to grow from 68 million 2025 to 80 million by 2030. But I was fuzzy on my numbers. But yes, that's the number, 68 million.
Let's say you have the sharpest, smartest LOA agent using the best technology. How many beneficiaries could they possibly help during AEP? 1,000?
Like in a call center setting where they're
in
getting
a call
inbound
center
calls?
where
that's probably
they've got a funnel. The carriers just cram it. It's mama bird to baby bird. Just here, write this, like just cramming it down the LOA's throat, right?
Yeah.
So let's, again, just crazy numbers, round numbers. Let's say this LOA agent could do 1,000 apps during AEP. And let's say that they had 10,000 LOA agents. What would, which again, that's insane. Nobody has a 10,000 agent LOA call center. But again, sake of argument here, we're going to say, so 10,000 LOA agents, they're doing 1,000 apps each during AEP. That's 10 million. And those are unrealistic numbers across the board to begin with. What about the other 58 million, guys? Who's supposed to help those Medicare beneficiaries? The sheer volume of business that exists, it's really going to take AI. That's the only way that they could somehow eliminate us if they really wanted to. It would have to be artificial intelligence. It would have to be a scalable system where they could have, 10 million virtual insurance agents that are helping these beneficiaries, because the ability to scale and the ability for that agent to actually produce business during AEP, there's caps on it. There's limitations. So even if this conspiracy is true, it can't eliminate us. There's just no way. The numbers, I don't see how the numbers could make sense unless, again, there's really no path forward on this one where you could make me believe that there's a system in place where the carriers are like, hey, we've got this. We're good, bro. We don't need you anymore. Thanks. Like, pack it up. We're good.
Yeah. And that's not even taking into account, right? Like, that's based on the number of beneficiaries we have today. That's not even thinking about the 12 million additional beneficiaries that will be entering the Medicare beneficiary pool over the next 5 years is the estimation, right? We're going to go to 80 million by 2030 is what all statistics show. So, like, it's totally unrealistic. And yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with everything you just said there. Again, right? I do believe now. Tell me this. I didn't see this post. Was this a anonymous post?
It wasn't anonymous. So there were real people, real names attached to it. But again, it was very limited in the sense of they were really pointing to like an LOA call center that had a bunch of job listings and someone interviewed, and the feedback from the agent that interviewed for this LOA call center position was told. I think what they were trying, like, I think the point of the argument that they felt like they really had something was like, well, this LOA agent's going to sell non-commissionable plans and get paid for it, and we can't get paid on those plans. And again, this is a trust me, bro, third-party information. And even if it was true, right? Even if this is somehow true, it doesn't make sense to me that it could lead to us being eliminated as agents. It just doesn't, unless there's some sort of secret weapon here that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, I would agree. We probably got about 10 minutes left on the show.
Yeah.
There is one conspiracy theory that I wanted to get into a little bit and have time to talk about quickly before we can move into final thoughts. And that was one that both of us have heard for some time. I've never actually gotten anything on the record that it's actually a thing, though. Like for sure. But I have heard whispers, and I know you have too, that
I've got a great one I pulled up here I want to share after this really fast.
Okay.
Keep going.
That there are carriers in the med sup space that if you do too much guaranteed issue birthday rule business,
talk to me, Poppy. Talk to me.
Even if you do nothing else wrong, they track the percentage of your business that's open enrollment or underwritten. But if you do too much, if you feed them too much bad business, quote unquote, business of people that have chronic health conditions, that are sickly, they track all these metrics and they view you as a liability and they'll terminate your contract even if you've done nothing wrong. Because remember, a carrier can terminate your contract for any reason.
Correct. This is 110% true in my opinion. I've seen this play. Yeah. It sounds crazy when you say it out loud because you're like, I'm following all the rules. I'm helping people get coverage. I'm doing nothing wrong. But again, from the P&L standpoint of the carrier, this isn't good business for them, right? This is typically business they're going to lose money on, because if someone comes in on a guaranteed issue policy, they're really sick, right? They have cancer, whatever it is, and they're using their policy to a large degree comparatively to someone who's been fully underwritten, or at least simplified issue, right? They've been underwritten. That person's going to most likely be a profit center for the carrier. So this is one of those that I think new agents look at and they scratch their heads and they're like, that can't be true. Like, oh, this agent had to be doing something. But as someone who's been in the industry as long as I have, and I've seen this happen several times, and it is always one of those kind of head scratchers for sure. But yeah, this is true.
All right, let's move into the one you want to talk about, because I want to make sure that we stay top of time.
I'm gonna do a little two banger here really fast. One is there's a life insurance carrier by the name of Americo. If some of you might be contracted doing business with Americo, I've personally worked with Americo historically before. There's something they've started utilizing called, I want to say, Plan F. Have you heard about this?
Like MedSup Plan F?
Not MedSup Plan F. It's this strategy they've started implementing, which I think is legally within their right, where within the first 2 years of that life insurance policy, they will basically re-underwrite somebody. So you could write a policy for someone. They could get sick a year later. They're going to go in, re-underwrite someone's health. And if it's different than the application, they might withdraw that application.
I've never heard of that.
It sounds illegal, but I think it's one of those situations where, because it's within the contestability period, the first 2 years, you'd have to fight them tooth and nail to try to prove that when the application was issued. And Americo's the only carrier I've heard who's actually done that. So again, it's one of those, very strange situations. Keep your eye out for if you're in the final expense space. Now I'm going to share my screen really fast because this is a fantastic one that we've mentioned on the show before. Do you know what I'm about to share here? If you had to guess.
No, I have no idea.
Oh, really? Okay. Globe Life fends off shareholder lawsuits alleging that the company misled investors. Which I'm trying to remember last time we talked about this, where they were at in this whole process. But I'm going to give you a quick little snippet from this article. So for at least 4 years, the company consistently reported artificially inflated profitability metrics for Globe Life, particularly its American Income Life subsidiary. These metrics were inflated because over that period, American Income Life was engaging in widespread insurance recruiting fraud. Instead of disclosing these issues, the individual defendants attributed the company's financial success to increased agent count, policy persistency, and high sales. Despite the swirling controversies, Globe Life also faced or is facing various inquiries from Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the SEC, and the Department of Labor, and various civil lawsuits. So that is one part of this. There's another piece of this where allegedly the C-level executives over at Globe Life were aware that, and it doesn't seem like that article specifically got into it, but allegedly there is another piece of this conspiracy that Globe Life was aware that they were offering final expense policies or life insurance policies on people who were already dead. And a long time ago, we actually shared in the Facebook group. If you go back, you can actually look and you'll see there's a picture of an agent with a clipboard going through a cemetery, and it looks like they're writing policies based on what they're seeing on the headstone. So again, it's one of those things where this is a quote unquote conspiracy, right? It's a conspiracy until it's proven true or it's proven false. That's a big one, right? You've got a major life insurance carrier who's being accused of inflating their sales numbers, inflating their revenue. And this is a publicly traded company, right? They talked about shareholders in that article I just shared, and having something like policies that they're issuing. And it'd be one thing if like a downline, right, or an agent was found to be doing this, but it's a whole nother thing, in my opinion, if you're able to find out and you're able to prove that the C-level executive staff, they were aware that this was going on. They did nothing to stop it. They didn't report it to anyone. They didn't stop it. They just kind of sat back and quietly went, oh, look at last quarter's numbers. Look at last year's numbers. That is a big one, in my opinion. So we're getting towards the top of the hour here. Christian, I think, had to jump for a second. So he has his screen on pause for the audio only listeners of the podcast. If you're wondering where Christian went, I want to kind of start to get into some of my final thoughts on this episode. So episode 157, diving into conspiracy theories, including insurance conspiracy theories. I think as we get towards the end here, and we talked a lot about some of these different common insurance conspiracies that we're seeing shared, with the biggest one right now, hands down, being they're trying to eliminate the agent. They're trying to eliminate brokers. They don't want to pay us anymore. Hands down, this is the most common conspiracy that we're seeing shared. I think my hope is that from this episode that you can take a peace of mind away, knowing that there is more beneficiaries that need to be helped than could possibly be serviced by any captive agent force, any LOA call center that a carrier could be potentially working with directly or indirectly. A lot of what you're seeing shared on social media is conjecture, it's fear, it's just, these opinions that aren't even based on anything. We see agents sharing things that they say it like it's fact, but it's just purely their opinion, or they're literally just, spitballing based on their own fears that they have. So don't buy into that, right? Don't buy into everything you're hearing and you're reading. I would say try to keep an open mind and be leery of maybe certain situations and do your own research and try to understand the situation as best as you can. Go to the source as much as you possibly can. And that way you can be in the know and you can actually know what's going on. So that, ladies and gentlemen, would be my final thoughts on episode 157. I want to recap our sponsor of today's episode as well, Hire Heroes. If you're looking for a vetted virtual assistant, if you need help, if you're drowning in service work right now, if you have so much change going on in your market or with your book of business, you don't know how, as an agent or as an agency owner, you could keep up with everything that's coming just around the corner now, with AEP being just days away. It's not too late. It's not too late. The link is in the comments below this live stream right here in the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Facebook group. You can click that link or you can type in Hire Heroes. That's HireHeroes, hireheroes.com. And you can get a vetted virtual assistant, someone who has experience, a baseline knowledge of the insurance industry, and they can come in and help you with all of these low revenue, no revenue generating tasks that you're struggling with. So if you need help, it's not too late. If you are looking forward at AEP and what's on the horizon and what's coming, and you don't know what you're going to do, head over to hireheroes.com right now. It is a quick 2-minute form that you fill out. You fill that out, and within 2 to 3 business days, we can have a vetted virtual assistant that's the perfect match for you, be working with you and in your agency or with you as an agent. Mr. Brindle's back. Christian, I've already shared my final thoughts.
Yes.
On today's episode, I was just recapping our sponsor of today's episode for the audience. I'd love to get into some of your final thoughts on diving into insurance conspiracy theories.
Yes. You guys, my final thoughts. First of all, great episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And, if you guys want to see more content like this, please be sure to let us know, because I've said before, as the audience, you drive the bus based on what you want to see. But yeah, I think vast majority of conspiracy theories are just that, conspiracy theories, whether it be insurance related, non-insurance related. There might be a few that come to fruition that actually there's something nefarious going on behind the scenes. But I think when you start looking for a conspiracy in everything, then everything becomes a conspiracy, even if there's nothing there. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to speculate.
Yes.
But sometimes it is just that. So anyway, guys, hope that you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to give us a like, comment, subscribe, 5-star review on whatever the platform of your choice will allow you to do. And we'll see you guys next time on 7 Figures or Bust podcast. Thanks so much for watching. Here's to your massive success, and stay speculative.
And stay safe. They're coming. They're coming for us all.